If you listen closely right now, deep divers, you can hear the sound of nature. We got birds singing, the butterflies floating around, flapping their wings. Nature, to be in nature, is a gift and also a curse. Or it's just a gift. Or it's just a curse. You see, everything in life has got to do with how you perceive it. For me, it's just a gift. Just, woo, breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Even on a bad day, I don't say it's a curse, I say it's a gift. Because I woke up today. It could be worse. Even me knowing what I know, I say it's just a gift. Because I'm a deep diver, deep divers. Deep divers, deep divers. A woman wrote to me, she's like, Ralph, why does it feel like a curse to be highly awake? Like the things I know have got me feeling like I'm in a nightmare. Why being highly awake feels like a nightmare sometimes. She's like, Ralph, it's like I know more than everyone around me. And sometimes this is a huge burden. Sometimes I feel like I could have just taken the blue pill and be ignorant like everyone else and I would be happier, Ralph. Do you have any answers for me? Absolutely. Raising the frequency, raising the vibration. Take that, take that, take that. Good ass energy I'm sending you today. Peace. Infinite waters, diving deep once again. Beautiful deep divers, we are out here in the heart of nature, baby. Another magnificent day. Getting high on my own supply, deep divers. Why being highly awake feels like a nightmare sometimes. Now, I could relate when I was reading that message, like, hey, once upon a time I felt the same way. Like, the more you know, the more you ask yourself, do you really want to know more? You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. When you begin to go down that rabbit hole, you realize it's endless. It can go on forever. And sometimes you know more than everyone around you. And sometimes that can feel like a nightmare. You're like, hey, maybe ignorance is bliss, right? For me, no, ignorance is not bliss. Wisdom is bliss. But this gift of being highly awake, it's all about how you use this gift. If you don't know how to use this gift, it will feel like a curse. You see, I made it work for me. And we ain't even had breakfast yet. Can I get a hello there? Knowing what I know, deep divers, and knowing how much I don't know, because enlightenment is knowing how much you don't know. Slow motion this side. So before you think you're highly awake, just remind yourself you can still learn more. But as I was awakening along my journey, I realized that it was a problem for me. And it felt like a nightmare once upon a time because I was in the wrong place knowing what I know. I was around people who were still plugged, programmed into the matrix, and I shouldn't have been there. So I said, hey, Ralph, you need to go somewhere in nature. Just, breathe in that good ass prana, baby. Create your own reality. Create your own reality, and everything is going to be beautiful. And so it is. But what happens when you are so young and you know all of this information? What happens when you are at the workplace and you are knowing all of this information that we came here to be free and that they're lying to you every single day? It can be overwhelming. It can feel like a nightmare when you get it, but people around you don't, okay? Why being highly awake feels like a nightmare sometimes? Because you have woken up to the fact that you are living in a lunatic asylum. Planet Earth is a lunatic asylum. That's right. That's right, deep divers. Even the cat down the road knows it. And you start to realize, just like the great Krishnamurti said, it is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. This society is sick, and everything you see around you, global pandemic, all of these things, they are just symptoms. But what we are dealing with is billions of people who have suppressed emotions, repressed emotions, who are dealing with trauma from birth, who are dealing with trauma from being lied to from birth. So this is why when you start to wake up, when you start to become more aware of who you are and who other people are in relation to you, you're like, we are all the same, Ralph. We are interconnected. Yes, we are. Therefore, you start to feel the trauma around you. You can go somewhere and you can feel the energy of the place you are in. You walk into a room and you can pick up the energy, the frequency, the vibration. Many people who are highly awake are intuitive empaths. Therefore, when they are around people, they absorb their energy. You absorb their trauma. And this is why sometimes it can feel like a nightmare. You're like that boy in the sixth sense, right? You're like that boy in the sixth sense. I see dead people. You can see more than most people. You can feel more than most people. And sometimes it can feel like a nightmare. For me, I remind myself when I was younger, I'm an empath, intuitive empath. My mom's friends, aunties, uncles, they would come to me. I was like 10 years old. They would tell me all of their problems. It's almost like they knew I could help them. I'm like, I'm just a child. But I was listening and they knew that I could help them out. And sometimes that can feel like a nightmare if you have so many people offloading onto you. And the solution, being highly awake, you have to learn how to protect your energy. And now the gift can work for you. You got to remind yourself you didn't come here to solve all of humanity's problems. You came here to experience your own life experience. So don't feel like you have this responsibility to solve everyone's problems or the world's problems. No, you don't. You just have a responsibility to become your greatest version, and that will help everyone around you. Okay? Why being highly awake feels like a nightmare sometimes. People you know and love, you want to save them. And it happened to me along my journey. When you know, you want everyone around you to know. You want to shake everyone and say, why don't you get it? Wake up! You're living in a matrix. And they don't want to hear it. So I had to learn that not everyone wakes up at the same time. And there are levels to this shit. And the gift can work for you. When you learn this, that you don't have to save people, even friends and family members. They are here to learn certain lessons for their own evolutionary process. And there's nothing you can do to speed it up or slow it down, except being who you are. Yes, you can give people information. You can take a horse to water, deep divers, but you can't force it to drink. In fact, the reverse psychology of it is when you leave people to their own devices and say, hey, go and live your life, when they are ready, they will come to you. When the student is ready, the master will appear. So I had to learn this. And this is why Infinite Waters is inspiring millions of people, because I'm here living my truth. And other people, when they are ready, they can come and drink from the wellspring of truth. Woo! Breathing in that grass, prana, baby. Why being highly awake feels like a nightmare sometimes. Because the television actually means tell-lie-vision. It's telling lies to you visually. You realize that in this matrix, everything is designed to keep you in a low frequency. And you can see this now. It's like before you couldn't see it, but like now you can really see it. It's just like in the film They Live. You put on these glasses and you can now see the subliminal messages even on billboards. It's like, have a nice day on the billboard, but you can see it actually says obey, conform, stay in lockdown. And you're like, ain't nobody got time for that, right? So a lot of people who are highly awake, they can see the subliminal messages, even in films, even in music. And sometimes you are processing huge amounts of information, and this sometimes can seem like a nightmare. Well, how did I make this the greatest gift on earth? I said, wait a minute, I would rather be in the know than in ignorance. I would rather take the red pill and be aware that we have been deceived, because the truth will set you free, but it will piss you off first. Slow motion this side. Why being highly awake can feel like a nightmare sometimes. Well, let's talk about this global pandemic. A lot of people are feeling forced to get the triple jab by governments. And sometimes when you know the truth, when you do the research, you are still around people who just drink the Kool-Aid and believe everything they see and hear on the TV. And this is why it can feel like a nightmare when you are living in a world full of zombies. I want to remind you, you are not alone. I'm here for you. And there are millions of people just like you. What you have to remind yourself is that being highly awake, a lot of people can sometimes feel like it's a curse when you can see the lie. When you know that every news broadcast, they're lying to you. And it's called the broadcast because they're casting spells on you. Slow motion this side. But it can be a gift when you watch the news just to see what they're not saying. Slow motion this side. Now you can outsmart them, right? Why being highly awake feels like a nightmare sometimes. It happens like this, deep divers. Many people go through life fast asleep. You were once one of these people. I was once one of these people. But somewhere along the line, you had this great awakening, and now you're seeing things differently. When you are highly awake, you literally have to relive your past when you see other people around you who are still fast asleep. And sometimes this can feel like a nightmare. You're like, oh my gosh, that was me like 5 years ago. Well, it becomes a gift when you say, actually, thank goodness it's no longer me. Thank goodness I've evolved. Thank goodness I've moved to the next level. Why being highly awake can feel like a nightmare sometimes. You can see the agendas behind everything. Behind the mainstream media, behind the governments, behind low vibrational music. You're like, hey, why is low vibrational music pushed by these corporations to dumb down the masses. And sometimes this irritates you. You're like, hey, why can't we have music that can uplift the masses go number one? Well, the good news is that it is, because you're going to be the one that does it. Slow motion this side. Why being highly awake can sometimes feel like a nightmare. People around you, you want to shake everyone around you and say, why don't you get it? You can't do that, deep divers. You might get charged with a crime. Listen. Many times people around you, when you are highly awake, they are fast asleep. And it's people thousands of miles away who are just like you. Like, why does this happen, right? So people in your close proximity are fast asleep, but people in other countries get it. And you're like, hey, is this the universe just playing this massive joke on me? Like, why isn't my next door neighbor highly awake, right? So sometimes it can feel like a nightmare in that regards. But the good news, what I've found, is that when you put yourself out there, you will even start to meet people in your own town, in your own village, in your own community, they are just like you. And I've seen it along my journey. I meet a lot of people who live near me right now only because I've been showing up every single day, raising the frequency. You start to realize there are so many people just like you, but you would never know, right? Okay. Why highly awake people? Why being highly awake feels like a nightmare sometimes. Don't worry, deep divers, I won't scare you again. You know more than everyone around you, okay? I was waking up when I was at my job, deep divers. I used to work in a school with autistic children and children with ADHD. It was a cool job, but I was having my own awakening, and I had my own feelings about working in mainstream schools. Like, this is indoctrination was one of them. And I started to realize, like, this was turning into a nightmare because I knew too much. It was hard for me to keep my mouth shut in the staff room. They would be saying, like, just talking about very surface things. And I'm like, no. There is so much happening in the world. Let's talk about that. And they would look at me. They would give me the fluoride stare, like, I'm like, oh my gosh. So I realized it's not about those people. It's about what I'm here to do. You see, you got to remind yourself there are levels to this shit. And sometimes being highly awake means that you have to change what you do day to day, your daily activities. You have to change your job, which is joy over freedom. Right? Joy over boredom. You got to change your job, right? Joy over boredom. Just over broke, okay? So I had to change what I was doing every single day. So now it's a gift because I've created my own reality. What I do works for me and it works for humanity. But if you are someone who is the smartest one in the room, you get it, and everyone around you doesn't get it, maybe in a job, you might want to say, wait a minute, maybe it's not their problem. Maybe it's me that has to move to an environment which nurtures my soul so I can say, feels so good to be alive, baby. Can I get a hello there? Deep divers, I'm just, breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Shout out to everyone who's been getting the wonderful good ass prana shirts at relvsmart.com/clothes and spreadshirt.com if you're in America. And if you're a sexy ass model, with a whole lot of heart who wants to model the clothing, well, let me know why you have what it takes to be an Infinite Waters model, okay? DM me on Instagram, Deep Divers, for more daily inspiration at Ralph Smart, at official Ralph Smart, and Facebook at Ralph Smart, at Infinite Waters, and Snapchat at Good Ass Prana, baby. Check out the new book, Deep Divers, for more powerful, life-changing information just like this. Feel Alive by Ralph Smart on Amazon and at ralphsmart.com/thebook. They tried to bury us deep divers. They forgot we were seeds. Remind yourself, being highly awake, being woke, is a gift and a curse, or a gift or a curse. It's got everything to do with how you perceive it. For me, it's just a gift because I would rather be awake than asleep. Actually, sometimes I like to go to sleep, but I don't want to be asleep in this matrix. I never sleep because sleep is the cousin of death. Shout out to Nas. I love all of you deep divers. Have a beautiful day. Peace. Infinite waters, diving deep once again. Stay well, stay healthy. Peace. Let's just breathe. In that good ass prana, baby, and thank the universe. It's a gift. That's why it's called the present, deep divers. Peace.